It's all just gossip.
Alright, so that took a lot more time to fix than I would have liked. So last time I was playing and ran into a couple of crashes that weren't really that unexpected. But last time I had some sort of major crash while saving, and that seemed to corrupt the save file, and then I also had issues then booting the game up, kept getting random gibberish error messages, and eventually when I got back in, my streaming and recording software wasn't cooperating, and that was only putting up black screen, but I think I've got it all working again. I'd originally tried uninstalling DirectX 11 because that gave me a lot of problems in the first game, and uninstalling that made the performance drastically worse in this game, to the point that like I was getting 9 frames a second running around here, and I had to lower all of the settings down to such a degree that like I could barely see where I was going just to get up to 25 frames per second. And so that was so unpleasant that I said, alright, we'll just reinstall DirectX 11 and I'll just be super careful with my saves to make sure that I have a backup at all times, save into multiple files and so on. I also found out that early on in the game when I was praying at that shrine to Beliar and there was no dialogue interface, there's an issue where with the DirectX 11 setting, if you have atmospheric scaling turned off, then that glitches out certain full screen effects, like that dialogue window. And if this ever gets deactivated, ever, then for the rest of your file, that dialogue interface will be permanently glitched. I have the DirectX 11 window up now, so it's like just right in here. I hope you can see that. But yeah, so there, I can't find a way to turn that on by default, so it seems like every time I boot the game, I have to come into the DirectX 11 settings and turn that on every single time, and if I forget, then I'm screwed. I think if I do forget, there's an easy workaround, because it's just a couple of dialogue windows, and I think I know those dialogues well enough to navigate without the thing, but still, I'd rather not have to deal with that. But yeah, so I basically, what I did was I started a new game. Oh, this guy's over here pissing.
Everybody knows by now.
He's taking a leak right in public. And basically what I did was I started a new game and just quickly caught myself back up to where I was. So I just ran through and did everything all over again. So I'm at roughly the same everything. I tried to grab all the same items, and I took the same skill training, and so I'm basically just getting back to where I was when I left off. So for instance, let me go ahead and save here, and let's talk to Regis.
Hey, you're new in town, huh?
Yes, and what about you?
I've come from the mainland, and now I'm hanging around here. I'm almost out of gold, so all I can do now is join the militia, I guess. But I don't want to do that. I won't be slaughtered by those orcs on the king's behalf.
What can you tell me about the militia?
One of the paladins has taken command. A certain Lord Andre. He's trying to mobilize half the city in case the orcs attack. But you need to be a citizen of the town in order to be admitted. As far as I know, if you're not a citizen, you can train anyway, but you won't be officially admitted.
What else can you tell me about Lord Andre?
He has taken over the position of judge as well. If you cause any trouble in this town, you're gonna have to answer to him. I was once in a brawl with a citizen. He went crying to Lord Andre and ratted me out. That little matter cost me 50 gold pieces. I was lucky that it happened at night, or others would have witnessed it. The more people complain about you in this town, the higher your penalty will be.
Who did you fight with?
With a fellow named Valentino. He often hangs out in the tavern near the temple. I'm not usually a violent person, but that guy needed his face rearranged in the worst way.
And so here we see that Gothic 2 has kind of like a crime and reputation system, a bit unlike the first game. In the first game, you were almost free to do whatever you wanted as long as you were strong enough to defend yourself. There is kind of like a little bit of reputation going on where if you beat up certain people, they would remember and then leave you alone, and you could also pay protection money to people, so that way supposedly they would come and help you if you got into a fight. But here, in this game, like crimes will be reported to the city guard, the militia, and if there are witnesses, then that cost goes up, and I think the severity of the crime dictates the penalty you pay, and I think it can block certain services to you until you pay off that fine. So yeah.
Has anything exciting happened?
You could say that. They robbed Bosper the bowmaker. What a brazen thing to do, I tell you. The fellow just ambled into the shop in broad daylight and grabbed himself a bow. And Bosper right after him, hollering, "Stop right there, you rogue!" But the thief was too fast.
There's nothing you can do about it.
Has any...
Oh well, all's quiet.
Oh, okay.
I suppose that when the orcs come, we can't fail to notice.
I was expecting him just to repeat himself. So now that I know about that, I can go talk to Bosper and pick up another quest, I think. Yep, here we are.
I've heard that someone stole from you.
Who told you that? Probably Bartok, huh? Didn't he have anything better to tell you? Oh, well. Let me tell you, if I get hold of this bastard, he can say his prayers. I left the shop for only a moment. When I came back, I could only just see him leave, with my bow on his shoulder. I called the guards right away, but the lowlife ran towards the harbor, and they lost him there. I lit a bonfire under their asses then, and they searched the entire harbor district. But they didn't find a thing. Those bumbling lackeys. I bet my bow is still in town somewhere. I informed the guards on both city gates, and they haven't seen anyone leave with my bow. When I get my hands on that bastard...
You mustn't believe everything you hear.
Okay.
I never knew that.
So now that's a new quest to find Bosser's bow. So already I have all these quests. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 quests, and I feel like I've barely done anything in the game.
But no, he insisted he knew better.
Alright, so I gotta find his bow, and a thief seems to have taken it, and there is a thieves guild in this game. They're hidden somewhere in the city, and I know where that is, but the game has told me that he ran off towards the harbor, so that's kind of my first clue about where to go for that. Of course, I don't necessarily remember how to get into the Thieves Guild. I think you have to, like, unearth some little bit of information, like get a key or get a password from somebody. So hopefully I'll stumble into that. Well, I thought this guy was going to give me a fun bit of dialogue, but this is not the guy. There's supposed to be a named guard here who calls you out, but that was not him.
Enos beheld what Beliar had done.
It's almost like that named guard switched places with somebody else.
And Enos spoke to him.
Alright, so I'm just going to continue talking to people, because most of these people here I need to talk to at some point to get quests or to advance other quests.
Ah, fresh face. You're not from Corinus, are you? This is not a good time for travelers. Bandits everywhere, no work, and now the farmers have risen up too. What winds have blown you here?
I've come about Gritta.
My niece? What's your business with her? This isn't about money, is it?
She owes 100 gold pieces to the merchant Matteo.
Tell me this isn't true. Ever since that little piece of work moved in with me, I've had nothing but trouble. She's in debt with practically every single merchant in town. I had to borrow 200 gold pieces from Lamar, the moneylender, just to settle her debts. And now this. Gritta should be in the house. Go ahead, ask her. But I tell you this, she doesn't have a single gold piece.
We shall see.
Yes, we shall. While I put my
Put
knife
that
out.
weapon down.
Yeah, don't.
Hey, you're not quite as stupid as you look.
This knife was not intended for you, sir. So, Greta is in here, and this quest can be resolved in a couple of different ways, 2 or 3 different ways. And I'm gonna... Ooh, there's a saw up here. Can I take that saw and hammer? I don't think that counts as a crime. I hope not, but now I can saw this tree. Yay, that's fun. Alright, but... So I'm gonna go talk to Greta and see what she has to say about the situation. I don't think I have any meat.
What with?
Yeah, I don't have any meat to grill. Can I read this for XP? I got XP. Fire lizard. Yeah, okay, cool.
What do you want, stranger? If you've come to beg, I must disappoint you. I am a poor widow. My name is Greta. Ever since my husband died, I have been running the household for my uncle Thorobin.
Let's just chat.
How's it going?
Same as always, but I don't want to complain.
Mateo sent me. You still owe him some gold.
He wants his money? What for? The goods he delivered were flawed, bad fabric, and bad seams. And did you look at the colors? Those are not the colors I ordered. That's fraud, that is. Let me tell you, back when my husband was alive, he wouldn't have dared to do that. Oh, my poor husband. Such a good man he was. Handsome, hardworking, a gentleman of the old school. We had it all. Wealth, happiness. Sometimes we were even invited to high society events. The festivities, all the beautiful clothes and hairdos, the fine dining and civilized conversations. Everything was better back then. No one would have dared to humiliate the heart of a poor widow with such...
And she just keeps going on and on with her sob story.
ridiculous claims. Whatever shall I do? My pension is barely enough to make ends meet, and times are getting even rougher. One sees it everywhere. People must scrimp and save. It's been weeks since the last ship came to town. My husband was the captain of a merchant ship. Actually, he even owned the ship. From his long journeys,
Wow.
he always brought me
Just keeps
presents.
going.
Exquisite fabrics from the mainland, precious spices from the southern countries.
And I can still keep listening to her.
Most people haven't even heard of these things. But then, one day, I got the tidings that the Grita had sunk. That was the name of the ship. My husband called it that out of love for me. I wept and prayed that my husband had survived the disaster. Every day I hoped to hear from him, but all my longing was in vain. May Innes have mercy on his soul. May he rest in peace. Since that time, I have been living under these modest circumstances, and now this soulless, callous Mateo is after the last bit of my life savings. Please have mercy on a poor woman. Back when my husband was alive, he wouldn't have dared to do that. Oh, my poor husband. Such a good man he was. Handsome, hardworking.
Did this just start
but
over?
Sometimes we were even invited to high society events. The festivities, all the beautiful clothes and hairdos, the fine dining and civilized
It literally keeps going.
Ridiculous. People must scrimp and save. It's been a week from his...
This is great. Alright, so I have to tell her to shut up.
Cut it out. Where's the gold?
But I don't have the gold. I'm only a poor widow.
Alright, so this is where I get a choice, and I could beat her up and take whatever money she has left. I could threaten to have to sell her things, or I could pay the sum for you. I think paying the sum might be like the best in terms of XP and appeasing everybody. But I'm gonna threaten her first.
Then we'll simply sell a few of your togs. I'm sure you've still got a bunch of stuff in your closet.
How dare you, uncouth lout! All right, here, take the gold.
See, that wasn't so hard.
And now will you please leave my house? What else do you want?
All right.
You've got my gold. Go away.
So she's gonna be mad for a while. For the rest of the game, probably. I think I can talk to Thorben about that.
Your niece had 100 gold pieces.
What? The brazen little serpent. That was my gold. She took it from my chest. Give it back to me. I have to pay off Lamar first. Mateo can get his money later.
Oh my god, there's so many twists and turns in this quest.
Here's your gold.
Thanks. Now I have at least part of the money I owe Lamar. I can't believe she had the audacity to take my gold.
Alright, and so let's see what Mateo has to say. I think in the end I'm gonna save Scum and just go and pay off the debt myself, because I can afford it, and I have a few things that I can sell for money if it comes down to it, because I did rob all these clothes, so I think I can cover that. Well, this makes it look like...
Here's your 100 gold pieces.
And? Did she cause any problems?
None to speak of.
Good. You've held up your part of the deal.
And so now maybe I talk to Thorben and tell him that I've paid off the debt. And this guy walking in might be the guy I'm thinking of. Who? Maybe not. Alright, so I'm gonna reload that. Reload that save, and I'm just gonna offer to pay off the debt right away. Okay, that was an interesting...
Ah, fresh face. What wind?
I've come...
My niece?
Shio.
Tell... Go...
We shall...
Is this... Nope. Still generic city guard.
What do you want, My name...
Alright, Mateo
Mateo-
sent me.
You want-
Yada yada. Cut it out, where's
Cut it
the
out.
dough?
I don't have the gold.
I'm gonna pay...
You would do that for me?
Yeah.
Come back once you've taken care of that. I want to show you my gratitude.
If you know what I mean. I actually don't know what she means. I don't remember what it is. There's still that saw and hammer. Alright, talk to Thorben.
Hey.
Huh. There's no dialogue with Thorben for that.
Here's your 100 gold pieces.
You want to pay for her? I'd have preferred it if you'd squeezed it out of her. Still, 100 gold pieces is 100 gold pieces. You've held up your part of the deal.
So he knows that I am paying that out of pocket, but I didn't tell him that.
Hey.
Huh. I could have sworn there was some line of dialogue here that like led to getting XP out of Thorben or something like that.
It was very noble of you to pay for me. I want to show you my gratitude. Here's a bottle of wine which my husband, may Innos rest his soul, brought back from the southern islands. Also, I'm going to spread the news around. At last there's somebody in town whose virtue...
Yeah, never mind.
Alright, so I did get 50 XP from her. But that means that Thorben doesn't get his 100 gold that was supposedly stolen from his niece. So let me go talk to the Lamar, the loan shark. Let me see if he has anything to say. There's a random lady cleaning the floor in Lamar's abode.
That will never change.
How's it going?
How much do you want?
What do you mean, how much?
I'm the moneylender and you came to me. What could you want from me? Money, of course.
Lend me some money.
Sure, how much would you like? I charge 20%.
Alright, so I can borrow money from him, but I have to pay him back with interest.
I'll think about it.
Make up your mind. Don't...
At a certain point in time. And now I'm remembering that
Who says things like that?
this guy has a ledger somewhere, and I think it's in this chest with, like, keeping track of all of his debts. And so I think I can help Thorben clear his debt by stealing that at some point, but I have to learn my thievery skills, and I'm really not at a point where I can do that yet. Because I'm still level 2 and I have upgraded my combat, but like nothing else. And I'll need to upgrade my dexterity and learn lockpicking and probably sneaking too. I think there's a way that you can kind of cheat the engine. Because I think like if you just jump from location to location, the game doesn't trigger it as you walking, so I don't think enemies notice when you walk into a protected zone where they would automatically turn to defend. So yeah. The glowing anvil. So this is Herod the blacksmith's shop.
Hey, you!
New in the city, huh? I'm Brian. I'm Master Harrod's apprentice.
What's it like to be the smith's apprentice?
Why do you ask? You want to be my successor?
Maybe.
Why not? I'm almost done with my apprenticeship, and then I'm gonna leave the city. But not because of Harrod. He is a good master. I've learned a lot from him.
Why do you want to leave this town?
Because the people here are getting on my nerves above all the other masters. I still remember what a fuss it was getting accepted as an apprentice with Harrod. Really, every one of them jokers had something to say about it. I want to decide for myself who I can or can't take as an apprentice.
Who are the other masters?
Well, there's Thorben the carpenter, Bosper the bowmaker, Constantino the alchemist, and Matteo. He sells armor, but first of all, he's a merchant. All the masters have their houses here on the street, and Constantino's shop is in the underpass to the temple.
Tell me more about Master Harrod.
He's not in a very good mood right now. A few days ago, the paladins came and ordered him to forge some swords for them. They've even forbidden him to sell swords to anyone else. Now he slaves day and night to finish the job as quickly as possible.
Can I buy weapons from you?
Not really, I'm merely an assistant. The weapons that are made in this smithy are collected by the militia and taken to the towers where they're stored. But if it has anything to do with forging, maybe I can help you.
Alright, so note to self, weapons and towers. So when I get my thieving skills, I'll try to remember to check that out.
What can I get from you?
I can sell you some steel billets.
Alright, so he'll sell me raw ingredients to forge swords. But I think I gotta learn how to forge before I can do that, and I think there are a couple of tiers that will let me forge different types of swords, so we'll worry about that later. Okay.
I'm looking for work.
I could use a new apprentice. Brian will have finished his apprenticeship soon, and then he'll leave the city. Are you good for anything?
If you mean, do I know blacksmith's work?
No, that's not what I meant. Sooner or later, the orcs are going to lay siege to the city, and then the only men who will count will be those who are in a position to defend our city. And I won't take on anyone as an apprentice who will disgrace me by fleeing the city with the women and the good-for-nothings, instead of holding the fort here with the men.
Okay. When can I start?
I'm not a good-for-nothing.
Those are big words. Can you back them up with big deeds?
What are you getting at?
Bring me an orc's weapon. Orcs have been seen near the city. With a bit of luck, you won't have to search for long. If you manage to bring one down, I'll take you on as an apprentice, provided the other masters agree.
So now I have 3 rotating quick save slots, so that way
What do you
I'll always
want?
have something nearby in case
Let's
the
talk
save
again
corrupts.
about that orc thing.
What?
What? He says what? So I can I can take on his orc challenge, or I can try to talk him into something
An
else.
orc is a damn tough opponent.
Looking at you, you might be right. You don't have much meat on your bones. But that can change. Nevertheless, you have to prove to me that you have the courage to fight.
So, couldn't it be something slightly smaller?
Hakon, the weapons dealer in the marketplace, told me that he was attacked by bandits a few days ago. The bastards are said to be roaming around somewhere outside the East Gate. Those cowardly rogues shouldn't be terribly bright. Hunt the bastards down. Every single one of them. Then I'll know that we can use you here in the city.
Okay, so that is a completely separate quest, and I think I can still get that even if I don't do Herod's thing, but I wanna do the orc challenge, because I can take down an orc, or I can procure an orc weapon more accurately.
What do you want?
Let's talk again about that.
What?
What?
Your orc is as good as dead.
Good. Then stop wasting your breath and let your deeds speak for themselves.
Okay,
When can I start as your apprentice?
Not before you've proven to me that you're good for something.
Can I sign on as an apprentice with a different master?
The other masters may well approve, but I will only give you my approval when you first prove that you're good for something.
Do you sell weapons too?
Forget it. Everything I make goes to the paladins or the militia. I have a commission for 100 swords from Lord Hagen. He wants to equip the city guard.
yeah, so the good news about that quest is you don't necessarily have to kill an orc, you just have to bring him an orcish weapon as supposed proof that you have killed one. And there is an orc nearby in the forest over there, just past the city gate, but I think you can find an orc weapon somewhere. There might be one like in the trench, the moat around the town, or in a cave nearby. So I'll come back to that later. And here is Constantino, whom I have herbs for him, supposedly, and I can do
What do you
quests with
want?
him as well.
I'm not giving anything away.
Oh, I want to read your book stand, your lectern.
There, where Adanos stood, was a place
No XP.
and Beliar had no power.
Alright,
Can I sell you some herbs?
If you have any to offer.
I'm looking to become an apprentice.
Really? And with whom are you going to sign up?
now normally I think I normally go with Constantino, because alchemy is important to learn for getting those permanent stat boosting potions. I don't remember who else teaches alchemy. I know there's some folks in the monastery where the fire mages are, but you might have to be a fire magician to train with them.
I want to sign up with you as an apprentice.
With me? No! I have already had the dubious pleasure once of grappling with an apprentice. That's quite enough for me. I invested several years in his education, and in the end, the poor fool up and poisoned himself. Go sign up with one of the other masters.
What will I have to do to become your apprentice?
I couldn't bear yet another dilettante on my conscience. There is a multitude of herbs out there. Used in different variations, they develop the most diverse effects. You probably don't even know half of them. Here. This is a list of the most important plants. Bring me a plant of each kind, and I might reconsider taking you in as an apprentice.
Okay.
Show me your wares.
These look like recipes to make these potions. Divine power of the stars might give mana. Alright, so this guy wants me to get him a bunch of herbs. Healing plant, herb root, fire nettle, fire weed, fire root, goblin berry, dragon root, snapper weed, meadow knotweed, king sorrel. Regards from Zurus. Who the hell is Zurus? Have I forgotten that name? Alright. So I think I have most of these. I might need fire weed and fire root plus king sorrel. Healing plant, healing herb, healing root, fire nettle. So I just need a fire root and a king sorrel, I believe. Okay, Zurus. Market area, you say. That's good to know.
About the plants.
If you cannot handle that by yourself, you won't be any good as an alchemist either.
I see.
Alright, so I think I know where to find a king sorrel, but it might not spawn until talking to Zurus. Because I think I have to ask, like, hey, where can I find some of these plants? And I think that's when the king sorrel will spawn. So, like, I'm just picking up a ton of quests right now. This city is extremely dense with quests and content and people to talk to that it's getting kind of a little hard to keep track of what's going on and a little hard to focus on any one thing at a time.
Nothing could exist at all. No light and no darkness. And so he set himself between his brothers
what have we
in order
here?
to reconcile
Have
their
you no
dispute.
manners?
And
That's
he did
disgusting.
not
Oh,
succeed.
is this filthy rabble? Haven't you a job where you ought to
There,
be?
where
But I
Adanos
suppose no
stood,
one would miss a
was a place in
down-at-heel
which
fellow like
Enos
you,
and
hey?
Beliar
Well, if you had as
no
much gold as
power.
I do, you wouldn't have to work either. But you'll never be that rich.
I see I'm gonna have
And
lots
in
of fun
this
with you.
place,
I think I just picked a
order
fight.
And chaos
Okay, not
were
yet.
equal. And so the sea was created.
Do you have anything else to tell me?
Make yourself popular,
And the
never
sea
promise anything
released
to
the
anyone.
land.
Take what you can and
there
watch out that
arose
you don't get into a
all
quarrel with the
creatures,
militia.
trees
Or with
as
jealous
well
husbands,
as
of course.
animals,
They're the worst, let me
wolves
tell
as
you.
well as sheep, and last of all,
Alright, so this is the guy
the
who
human.
Regis said he got
And
into a
Adanos
fight
was
with, and he
pleased
wants
with
someone
what
to
had
teach
arisen.
him a lesson.
He delighted
So
in
I can
all
get
the
some reward
beings
for
equal.
doing that at some point, but I'm not going to do that here in the
But
middle of
so
daylight.
great was the wrath of Beliar that he came across the
Let me
land
interrupt
and
Vatras.
chose the beast. And Beliar spoke to it, and the beast became his. Adanos be with you.
Who are you?
I am Vatras, a servant of Adanos, the guardian of the divine and earthly equilibrium. What can I do for you?
Here, I've got a letter for you.
For me? Indeed. This is an important message you're bringing me. I wonder how you got hold of this letter.
I got it from Cavalorn, the hunter.
Cavalorn? Where is he?
He told me to tell you he couldn't make it and is headed for the meeting point. Whatever he meant by that.
I see that you have gained Cavalorn's trust. That speaks in your favor.
Okay. Got a lot of dialogue with him.
Tell me about the Ring of Water.
And why would I do that?
Cavalorn sent me to you.
And what did he tell you?
He said you're in dire need of more good people.
Aha. So, you want to join us, son?
That is correct.
I want to join the Ring of Water.
You do? Now, that means you have already fulfilled the first requirement.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, there must be someone among us who trusts you. Otherwise, you wouldn't even know about it. But I know nothing about you at all.
What do you want to know?
Well, you could tell me where you come from and why you have come to the city.
I carry an important message for the leader of the Paladins.
What is this message?
And this is where Zardas told me not to tell anybody but the Paladins or whatever, but I think you gain his trust if you tell him the truth, because he knows somehow.
A large army is gathering as we talk, led by dragons and determined to conquer the country.
Dragons? You speak of beings which until now have only been mentioned in legends. How do you know this?
Yo, Zardas, he told me.
Zardas, the magician, told me. He sent me to warn the Paladins.
The necromancer. So he lives, and he sent you. Who are you really?
I'm a former convict from the penal colony of Corinus.
Good. Let us summarize.
Fasten
You are a
wir mir
former
zusammen.
prisoner who has been told by
randomly went
Zardas,
to
the
German
necromancer, that dragons have come to conquer the country. And you have come to report this to the Paladins. That all sounds rather fantastic, but I cannot perceive that you are lying to me. Therefore, I must assume that your motives are honorable. I want to give you a chance to join the Ring of Water.
Yeah, I'll come back, because it's getting real dark out here. It's a little late. So I'm gonna go find a bed to sleep, and I think I can just sleep in Constantino's bed. There's supposed to be an inn that you can go to, but as long as Constantino's not in his bed, I can just sleep here. I don't think the inn charges you to sleep. I just want to keep the sun out, because it gets really dark in this game, especially with the DirectX 11. Alright, let's continue.
What must I do in order to join the ring?
Know that you take on great responsibility by joining the ring. I do not let just anyone join who comes to us and asks. If you want to join the ring, you will have to prove that you act like one of us.
And that means...
Before we let a young man join our ranks, he must have done a great deed for the ring. Only then can I begin to consider letting you help preserve the balance of forces on this island.
I have vanquished the Sleeper. Isn't that a great enough deed?
My ears hear many a tale these days, including the story about the banning of the beast called the Sleeper.
Yeah, that was me.
I have not heard that this was achieved by a single man, although your eyes tell me that you are convinced you did this. That confuses me slightly, but I cannot be sure that my senses might not deceive me sometimes.
I have freed many people. The barrier is gone.
Even if you can really claim responsibility for that, the great event in the Valley of Mines has not only set free the water mages and other upright citizens. All the criminals of the entire country are roaming Corinus these days, harassing the population. The bandits have already taken over large areas of land outside the city. It has become all but impossible to leave the town and return unharmed.
So what would be an appropriate deed that might convince you?
Corinus is facing a great enigma these days. The number of people missing from the town seems to increase almost daily. If you can explain to me what happened to them, you shall have your place within the Ring of Water. However...
Yes?
You should take your message to the Paladins first. I consider it a matter of utmost importance. talk to Lord Hagen.
But Lord Hagen is not going to receive me.
Yes, he will, no doubt about it, provided you become a member of a powerful community first. The ring has far-reaching connections. We shall assist you in conveying your message as soon as possible. You should talk about this to Laris, whom I trust. He will help you.
What community should I join?
There are only 3 communities that have enough influence. These are the City Militia, the Monastery of the Fire Magicians, and the troop of mercenaries on the landowner's farm. The choice is yours, son. Laris can certainly assist you with this difficult decision. Talk to him about it.
I shall do that.
Alright, so I'm getting all these quests like to join different people. So I have like the quest to become an apprentice to become a citizen of the town. I have this quest to join the Ring of Water. And then there's also a quest to join one of the 3 factions. So the Ring of Water is not an actual faction. They're just kind of... they're like a side faction, I guess. They're not one of the 3 main ones. They were added in the expansion, so... I can join them and still, for instance, join the Fire Mages.
Tell me about the Ring of Water.
Since you are not yet a member of our community, I cannot tell you everything, of course. But I shall tell you what I may.
Who are the members of the Ring of Water, then?
I cannot tell you that until you join the ring. But you will certainly have met some of them by that time.
Where are the other water mages?
They are exploring the ruins of an old culture northeast of Corinus. We suspect that those ruins might contain a passage to a part of the island which is as yet uncharted.
Tell me more about that uncharted area.
If you're interested in joining the expedition, I could send you to Satyrus with a letter. You can only participate, of course, as long as you're one of us.
Of course. What exactly is it that you do?
We stand between the Order of Innos and the chaos of Beliar. If one of the 2 sides should gain the upper hand, it will mean either total loss of freedom or deadly chaos. Therefore, we guard the balance between the 2. That's what makes life in this world possible for all.
Alright, so he's talking about Beliar and Adanos and so on, so I don't know if this was ever really explained in the first game or if it's come up yet in this game, but in this world there are basically 3 gods who, I don't know if they created the world, but they preside over the world, and they are Beliar, Adanos, and Innos. And loosely speaking, Beliar is kind of like the god of darkness, Innos is the god of light, and Adanos is the god of balance. So the Fire Mages serve Innos, and Zardos serves Beliar, as would other necromancers, but there aren't very many necromancers in this game. And then the Water Mages serve Adanos.
And what does that mean in concrete terms?
The fall of the barrier has evoked numerous threats. The bandits are probably the most obvious one. Not only has it become all but impossible to travel the island without being attacked, there's someone in town, too, who supports the bandits. We have found out that the bandits receive regular deliveries from a weapons merchant in Corinus. We try to find such people and keep them from endangering the city. If you can find out anything about this, let me know.
Alright, that sounds like another quest. Oh goodness, I have so much dialogue with him. I'm gonna exit out and save the game.
Wait, if you see Laris, give him this ornament and tell him that it needs to be returned. He'll know what to do with it.
Oh sweet, okay, I think I need to do that sooner rather than later. I mean, there's no time limit, but if I can deliver that with Lara's, then I'll be able to open him up to do other things.
About those missing people.
Yes?
Where should I start looking for them?
Most of those people disappeared down by the harbor. That's probably where you should start your search.
Let me tell you what I know.
What have you found out?
Nothing important so far.
That's more like pretty much nothing at all.
About this weapons dealer. How much do you know about the weapons dealer?
Ask Martin, the provisions master of the Paladins, about this. He should be able to tell you more. He has been tasked with unmasking the weapons dealer.
Can we put
you can
that
find
in
Martin
a journal
in the
entry?
Harbor district. If you see a heap of crates, provision, and paladins, Martin won't be far.
Can we put that in a journal entry, please, so I can remember that?
Is there anything that could help me with my search?
You're a very persistent young man, but I actually can think of something that could make your tasks easier for you. I shall give you this ore amulet. You'll certainly be able to use it. It is an amulet of the searching will-o'-the-wisps. There are only very few of them. The will-o'-the-wisp that inhabits this amulet has very special properties. It can help you find things that normally elude the naked eye. You summon it by simply wearing the amulet. If it loses its power, or you cannot find it, simply put on the amulet again and it will reappear. The will-o'-the-wisp can detect weapons. It could be very helpful to you in investigating the weapons deliveries to the bandits. Treat it well, and it will never fail you.
Excuse me.
A will-o'-the-wisp in an amulet?
Will-o'-the-wisps are admirable creatures. They consist of pure magical energy. They are bound to the magical ore in this world. It is their origin. It gives them their strength. I'm not surprised that you've never heard of them. They only appear to the person who bears the ore to which they belong. Will-o'-the-wisps, living in the wild, have been forcefully removed from their sources. They will attack anyone who approaches them. There is no way to help those pitiful creatures. You had better stay away from them.
Can the will-o'-the-wisp do more than that?
More than look for close combat weapons? Not unless you teach it. I think Riordian knows how to teach these beings. He is one of us, currently traveling with Satyrus. Perhaps he can tell you more.
Thank you. I shall take good care of it.
Can you teach me something about magic?
Only the Chosen of Innos and the Chosen of Adanos are permitted to work rune magic. But common mortals can also work magic with the help of spell scrolls. I can show you how you can channel and expand your magic powers.
Okay, this is where I guess he tells us about the gods.
Tell me about the gods.
What exactly would you like to know?
Tell me about Beliar.
Beliar is the dark god of death, destruction, and all things unnatural. He is in eternal battle with Innos, but Adanos guards the balance between the two. Only a few humans follow the call of Beliar. However, he grants great strength to those who do.
Tell me about Adanos.
Adanos is the god of the center. He is the scales of justice and guardian of the balance between Innos and Beliar. He commands the power of change. His gift is the water in all the oceans, rivers, and lakes. His priests are the water mages, just as I am a servant and priest of Adanos.
Tell me about Innos.
Very well. Innos is the first and highest god. He created the sun and the world. He commands light and fire, his gifts to humanity. He is law and justice. His priests are the magicians of fire. The paladins are his warriors.
I want to increase my magic powers.
I don't actually want to.
Can you heal me?
You do not require healing magic at this time.
I think that just leaves the line about the stone tablet, so let me talk to him about that.
I've got this stone tablet. Can you tell me more about it?
Those are artifacts from the old culture, which we have been investigating for some time. There are several kinds of them. Some contain information about the history of the ancient people, and that is the kind I am interested in. Bring me all of those that you can find. I shall give you an appropriate reward.
Now, I want to say that for each stone tablet you give him, or for every increment of 5 or something like that, he'll increase mana, but I'm not sure about that. Alright, so I'm just gonna continue exploring around.
Hey, you,
Here's
wait,
Pablo.
you look familiar to me.
What do you want?
I've seen your face before somewhere, right? Here, we found this picture on some bandits we picked up a few days ago. It looks a lot like you. Apparently, those guys were looking for you.
No, you've got to be mistaken. Everything's fine with me.
Whatever you say, stranger. But if that happens to be your mug after all, and if you have some problems, keep them outside of this town. Things are difficult enough here as it is. And strangers who bring trouble into the city don't stay here long. I hope I make myself clear.
How's the situation?
At the moment, it's quiet. Only the bandits outside the city are causing us problems.
What do you know about the bandits?
They've all come from that blasted mining colony. But there are several splinter groups. Some are holed up in the mountains, and others have joined up with Ona, the landowner. But it's the bandits outside of town who cause the most problems. They're the reason that none of the merchants venture beyond the city gates now.
Where did the bandits who had my wanted poster come from?
Aha! So it is your mug after all. Why didn't you admit that right away, huh? What do you want it for?
I don't know, honest.
Yeah, I know. Let me tell you something. If I thought you were in cahoots with those bandits, you'd already be cooling your heels in the slammer. Understood? Still, I'd better report this incident to Lord Andre. But to answer your question, we picked them up near the landowner's place. But they didn't look like Onar's people. I think they're part of a smaller group which is holed up in the mountains near Onar's farm. But if you intend to go there, let me warn you. Those cutthroats make short work of everyone.
I'll remember that.
Alright, so it sounds like Andre, the captain of the guard, is now aware that I am a wanted criminal. So I'm gonna go talk to Andre and see if what the consequences for that are, if there actually are any consequences. Is this Andre?
Inos be with you, stranger. What brings you to me?
I've got an important message for Lord Hagen.
Well, you stand before one of his men. What is this about?
That I must tell Lord Hagen myself.
Suit yourself, but you should know one thing. Lord Hagen receives only paladins, or those who are in the service to paladins. It is beneath his dignity to waste his time with members of the common folk.
I want to take up service with the paladins.
Good. I can well use every able man here, no matter what his reasons for joining us. If you place yourself in the service of the paladins, I shall help you get an audience with Lord Hagen. However, I have my orders only to accept citizens of the town into the militia. My commander is afraid that spies or saboteurs could sneak in. He wants to limit the risk this way. Therefore, you must first be a citizen of the town. Whether this rule makes sense or not is disputable, but orders are orders.
Is there a faster way to join you?
You're really serious about this, aren't you? Good. Listen, I have a problem. If you solve it for me, I shall see to it that you are accepted into the militia. But the most important thing is, you must not breathe a word of it to anyone.
Oh, okay, I remember this.
What's your problem?
Recently, there have been a number of thefts in the city. Thus far, we have not been able to capture anyone. The thieves are simply too skillful. The scum know their business. I'm sure that we're dealing with an organized gang. It would not amaze me if there were a thieves' guild in Corinthus. Find the leaders of the gang and hunt them down. Then I shall see to it that you are accepted into the militia, regardless of whether or not you are a citizen. But you must say nothing about our agreement.
Why did the music stop? So let me load my quick save here and see if that will reset the music. Alright, so Andre has given me...
One of my men told that the bandits are circulating wanted posters with your face on them. He also says you denied that at first. So what is it all about?
I don't know why those guys are looking for me.
I hope for your sake that you're telling the truth. I cannot use anyone in the militia who doesn't have a clean record. Most of the bandits are former prisoners from the mining colony. I should hope that you didn't get involved in any way with those cutthroats. The merchant Canthar was here. He said that you are an escaped convict from the mining colony. I don't know whether that's the truth, and I prefer not to ask you, but you should clear that matter up.
Man, this is like... These consequences are piling up. I love this game. It's got so much going on. It's like a role-playing game where sort of your decisions and your actions actually matter. But yeah, Andre just gave me the quest to essentially wipe out the Thieves Guild, which is kind of unfortunate because I want to join the thieves and learn some thieving skills, but I think I also want to join the militia just because I don't think I've ever played as a militia in Night of the Raven. And Night of the Raven kind of rebalances a lot of things and changes like runes and magic and weapons and armor and so on. So it used to be that the paladins had the best armor in the game, and they were like a warrior mage hybrid kind of class. I mean, it's like a paladin from D&D, so they get healing spells and I think death to undead and like a holy missile and things like that. But some of that might have changed in Night of the Raven.
Where should I start looking for the thieves?
If I knew that, I'd go there myself. I can only tell you this much. We recently turned the entire harbor district upside down and found nothing. Absolutely nothing. The people there are not very talkative, particularly if you wear the armor of a paladin. But you are an outsider. They will not distrust you so quickly. You could ask around the harbor first, but be careful. If the people there realize that you are working for the paladins, you will learn nothing.
And meanwhile, the music seems to have stopped again. So let me back out. And just run around for a little bit. See if that triggers it.
Martial law is immediately declared in all cities and regions.
I don't know why it's stopping.
All civilian judges are to hand over their duties to the royal palace.
It's kind of frustrating that it just stops like that. Because like the music is such an important part of excuse me, establishing the tone and atmosphere of this game, and without it, it's just, the world just doesn't feel as rich.
Why are you paladins in town?
The goals of our mission are secret. I can only tell you that there is no danger for the citizens of the town. You need not worry.
What should I do once I found one of the thieves?
If it's a matter of a lackey, a henchman, or some small fry, it would be best if you avoid a fight. You should rather come to me and report. I shall then see to it that the fellow winds up behind bars. The city guard could intervene in an open battle, and you would not have the opportunity of explaining to them what is going on. Furthermore, there is a bounty for every rotten apple you put behind bars. However, if you locate the leader's hideout, well, then you probably won't be able to avoid a fight.
Yeah, so if I'm remembering correctly, the Thieves Guild, I can join them, and I think my options are, there might be an option with the Thieves Guild to say, you know, some way to throw Andre off the scent. But I think if I don't resolve something, it's possible that the city guard eventually finds the thieves' hideout, like in chapter 3 or 4 or something later on in the game, and they just get murdered. Maybe not. I don't know. It's been a while.
About the Thieves Guild.
Yes?
And the music has stopped again.
I'm working on it.
Good. Keep me informed.
What should I expect with the militia?
Let me make one thing clear. To be a soldier of the militia means much more than strolling through the city in a uniform. It is a dirty and even bloody job. Once you are one of us, a great deal of work will be waiting for you. But it is worth it. Besides the pay, you might someday have the chance of becoming a holy warrior of Innos.
I'm just going to finish out this dialogue, and then I'm going to reboot the game.
About those missing people.
Just leave me alone with that. I've got other problems.
I'm ready to join the militia.
That may be, but you are still not a citizen of this town, and I have my orders.
So I don't have to find the... I don't have to rat out the Thieves Guild to Andre to join the militia. I think I can still do that the normal way by just becoming an apprentice. So I might be in luck.
I've come to collect the bounty for a criminal.
I don't have any criminals to turn in. Alright, so let me do a quick save. 7, 43, so that'll be quick save 1. And I'm going to shut the game down and reboot it. So, get back to here in just a second.